So let us continue the discussion on the topic capital gain. If you remember that flow chart which I have told you, that will help you in solving the numerical of capital gain correctly. That first of all you must check section 45 condition, then you must check the definition of capital asset as per section 2 clause 14, you must check the meaning of transfer as per section 2 clause 47, and you must check that the transaction is treated as transfer. And for this purpose you need to check section 47, which deals with the cases when transactions are not treated as transfer. So once you have applied all these four sections for any numerical of capital gain, then your stage 1 is clear. That means section 45 you have to apply, section 2 clause 14 you have to apply, section 2 clause 47 you have to apply, and section 47 you have to apply. This will clear my stage 1. Then I will move to kinds of capital assets, whether long-term assets or short-term capital assets. So it depends upon the type of the capital asset plus holding period. When you use these two knowledges, type of capital asset, that means name of the capital asset and its holding period, then you will get the answer whether the asset is long-term asset or short-term asset. This is my stage 2. Then I will move forward to my third stage, where now I need to compute income under that capital gain. So I need to know mode of computation, which is section 48. So it can be short term or long term. Then you need to have the knowledge of cost of acquisition, which you have to deduct while computing short term capital gain or short term capital loss. But before deducting this cost of acquisition, you must be having actual cost of the asset with you. To be very specific, actual cost of the capital asset to the assessee, you must be having this figure. If assessee has purchased any asset, then you have the actual cost of the capital asset with the assessee. But there are so many situations where assessee becomes the owner of the capital asset without purchasing it. Where assessee becomes the owner of the capital asset without purchasing it. So in that cases, my actual cost is nil. In reality, my actual cost is nil. But for the purpose of Income Tax Act, your actual cost might not be nil, and you have to apply section 49 in those cases. So I repeat what I'm saying, that when you compute income under that capital gain, if it is short term, then the format of section 48 says sale less expense on sale, less cost of acquisition, less cost of improvement. This cost of acquisition is not equal to actual cost of acquisition. This cost is that cost which we get as per the provisions of the Income Tax Act. Actual cost is the cost where I have paid something to purchase that asset. So do remember that the cost of acquisition is allowed to be deducted while computing income under that capital gains, not the actual cost of acquisition of the asset. That actual cost must be compared with different cases, and then we will decide whether actual cost will be deducted or not. So as per section 48, whenever you have to compute income under the head capital gains, if it is short term, the simple format is sale minus expense on sale minus cost of acquisition minus cost of improvement. Sale is easy, expense on sale is easy. Cost of acquisition is divided in different 8 categories, which I have discussed with you in the last class. I have made 8 categories of computing cost of or deriving cost of acquisition as per section 55. Section 55 deals with cost of acquisition, and I have made 8 different categories. But what I told you earlier also, that before you compute this cost of acquisition as per section 55, you must be having actual cost of the capital asset with you. Either you are directly having the actual cost of the capital asset with you, but in some situations, assessee become the owner, not by purchasing it, but by other means. So in that case, you should first compute actual cost of acquisition by applying the provisions of section 49. Once you have actual cost of acquisition of the capital asset with you, then you read section 55 and derive cost of acquisition as per different 8 categories. Category 1 is related to goodwill of a business, profession, brand name. Category 2 is related to, what was my category 2? shares, bonus, right, etc. Category 3, those long-term capital assets which have been acquired under before 1st Feb 2018 and which are covered under section 112A. Category 4 was related to liquidation. Category 5 was related to subdivision. 4 and 5 are not in our course. So I haven't discussed the detail of category 4 and 5 to derive cost of acquisition. I discussed with you category 1, category 2, category 3 and category 6, 7, 8. Category 6 is that category where capital assets have been acquired before 1st April 2001. Category 7 is that category where assessee became the owner of the asset because of the circumstances mentioned in section 49 subsection 1, and if the previous owner has purchased the capital assets before 1st April 2001. That is my category 7. And then residuary category is category 8. If my case is not covered under any of the above 7 categories, then I will apply category 8 and it will be having those assets which are acquired on or after 1st April 2001. Till this point we have discussed the topic of capital gain. So please raise your hands if what I have said is clear in your mind. Okay, now I'm moving further. So for the timing, I'm computing income under the head capital gains and it is short term. Sale I know, expense on sale I know, and cost of acquisition also now I know. So now the topic which is left is cost of improvement. How do we compute cost of improvement? So let me start sharing the screen with you and let us compute cost of improvement. After this, I can easily compute income under the head capital gains if it is short term. So let us discuss today cost of improvement. As you can see on the screen, these 3 points were pending in the last lecture: cost of improvement, indexed cost of acquisition, and indexed cost of improvement. These 3 are pending. So let us discuss now cost of improvement. So let me give it heading number. Table. Meaning of cost of improvement. (55) subsection 1 clause B. This is what cost of improvement is. Now, what do I mean by basically cost of improvement? If you remember, suppose I have purchased a house. I purchased a house in 2006, might be after 5 years in 2011, I made some alterations or constructions. I made one kitchen, one floor, etc. So that construction is what? Nothing but cost of improvement. This is cost of improvement. In so many cases, you don't need to incur cost of improvement, like in shares. You never improve shares. So improvement will not be available in all the capital assets. You have to see what type of asset is this. In jewelry, there can be some improvement. I have modified jewelry, for example. In house, there can be an improvement, but in shares, debentures, in these securities, you cannot improve these. Either you purchase it or you sell it. So that you have to decide that whether in such type of asset there will be an improvement or not. Mostly in case of properties you are having, or immovable property, you can be having cost of improvement. Now, what is the cost of improvement? Just like meaning of cost of acquisition, section 55 subsection 2, I made 8 categories. Out of those 8 categories, category 4 and 5 are not in our course. So we have to discuss 6 categories. We have to read 6 categories of cost of acquisition. In cost of improvement, we have only 3 categories. That's it. So cost of improvement is very easy. You are having 3 categories in cost of improvement. Category 1, category 2, and category 3. So you are having only 3 categories. Category 1. It is related to 3 different types of assets, where the capital asset is goodwill of a business, right to manufacture, or second name is right to manufacture, or right to produce, or right to process any article or anything, any product, whatever. And last is right to carry on any business or profession. So this category has these 3 different assets. Goodwill of a business, not goodwill of a profession. Just because goodwill of a business is written, don't assume that it is applicable even for goodwill of a profession. Profession and business are separate things. I'm a professional, I'm a teacher, but teaching is not a business for me. So category 1 is where the capital asset is goodwill of a business or right to manufacture or produce or process any article or thing, or right to carry on any business or profession. In these cases, your cost of improvement must be taken as nil. It is specifically written, you have to take your improvement cost as nil. In these cases, Act clearly says that you cannot be having your cost of improvement. It is nil by default. Category 2. Then category 2. Where the assets have been acquired before 1st April 2001, where the capital asset became the property of the assessee whenever you see this word property, don't treat it as house property. It can be your asset. It is your asset. That's it. Where the capital asset became the property of the assessee, or the previous owner before 1st April 2001. So whether you have purchased the property means not only house property, capital asset or any capital asset before 1st April 1 or the previous owner purchased it before 1st April 1. All improvements incurred before 1st April 1 are of no use. Cost of improvement is all improvements incurred on or after 1st April 1. By the assessee or by the previous owner as the case may be. As the case may be. For example, suppose Mr. X or Mr. X purchased a property, purchased a house property in 1991. He transferred it to Mr. Y as gift in 1996. Y spent 20,000 on improvement in 1998. He transferred it to Mr. S also as a gift in 1999. S also spent 30 lakh on improvement in 2009. He now ultimately transfers it, or he is now selling it in previous year 2021, which is my year. That's it. Now you tell me in this case, who is the assessee? Who is the assessee?
Mr. S.
Mr. S, because Mr. S is transferring the asset. In which year Mr. S is transferring the asset? In my year. So Mr. S is a seller. So Mr. S is the seller. So Mr. S is the assessee. Can you tell me now, in this case, what is the X? So I'm asking a question so that I know whether you remember the concepts or not. Suppose I want to have the knowledge of actual cost of acquisition, because I need the actual cost of acquisition to Mr. S. Can you tell me what is the actual cost of acquisition to Mr. S? Any answer? Ignore improvement. Let us revise the concepts. In this case, can you tell me the actual cost of acquisition to Mr. S? Think and try to tell.
Purchased cost of Mr. X.
Yes. Actual cost of acquisition to Mr. S will be deemed to be the actual cost of, very good, actual cost of acquisition to the previous owner. And who is the previous owner in this case? Who actually purchased it? Y also got it as gift from Mr. X, and Mr. X purchased it. So whatever is the actual cost of Mr. X in 1991, that will become the actual cost of acquisition to Mr. S. This is what when I used section 49. I hope you remember. This is my first step. I applied. So this is my, while determining cost, first I applied this concept that I must be having actual cost. Now, when I got actual cost, then I will apply the concept of cost of acquisition. In the same question, can you tell me what is the cost of acquisition to Mr. S? In the same question, because now we have to revise the concepts also. First of all, we must be having actual cost to the assessee. Since I didn't have actual cost to the assessee, Mr. X, why? Because Mr. X became the owner by not purchasing it, but by other means. So I took the help of section 49 and I got the actual cost of Mr. S. When I got the actual cost of Mr. S, now my next stage starts. What is the cost of acquisition of Mr. X? Mr. S, what is the cost of acquisition to assessee? Can you tell me which category I will use here? Category 1 was trademark, etc., which is not the case. Category 2, this is house property. Category 2 was shares. Category 3, long-term assets. 112A. Category 4, liquidation, not there. Category 5, subdivision, not there. Category 6, when assets have been acquired before 1st April 2001. This was my category number 6, where capital asset became the property of the assessee before 1st April 2001. And category 7 was when capital assets became the property of the assessee by any of the mode mentioned in 49.1. Yes. In my case, this is category number 7, which is applicable. I became the owner by way of gift, and this asset became the property of the previous owner before 1st April 2001. So in this case, what is the cost of acquisition? Actual cost of acquisition to the previous owner, which I got it, or fair market value of the asset on 1st April 1, whichever is higher. So in this case, how I am deriving my cost of acquisition is by applying category number 7. I'm not telling you the answer directly. I want to show you the concept so that you know how I am deriving it. I am applying category 7, and on this basis, cost of acquisition becomes actual cost of acquisition to previous owner, or fair market value of this asset on 1st April 2001, whichever is higher. It depends on the choice of the assessee. So that is why I am writing by default higher. I have not yet discussed in this example improvement. I simply wanted to make you revise about earlier concepts. Please raise your hands if you are getting an idea that how you should proceed step by step to correctly determine cost of acquisition. Have you understood what I have discussed, or these steps? Have you understood the process, that how I have applied different steps to get my correct cost? You must apply this way of calculation. You should not learn the concepts only. You should understand first. You should be having clear picture in your mind that how you should proceed step by step, and then you will always get the correct answer. Don't be in a shortcut to skip these steps. You must be having actual cost. On the basis of actual cost, then you read those 8 categories and get the cost. That's it. Now, in this case, what is my improvement cost? So let us discuss improvement cost. I hope still the screen is visible. So category 2 is of, now improvement is having 3 categories only. Category 1 was special, which is not my case. Category 2 is simple, where asset became the property of the assessee before 1st April 2001. Now in this case, all improvements incurred on or after 1st April 1 are relevant. So which improvements are incurred on or after 1st April 1? Y. Now assessee is Mr. X, Mr. S, assessee is Mr. S. So improvement of not only S will be required, but all those people who were earlier the owners, starting from that person who actually purchased it. Mr. S was the person who last purchased it in 1991. After this property was gifted to Y in 1996. Now in my case, who is the previous owner? Mr. S. Because he purchased it. He is the actual previous owner. Between Mr. S and Mr. X, the property changed one more hand, Y. But he also got it free. So my cost of improvement will be having all the improvements incurred by the assessee or by the previous owners, all previous owners, on or after 1st April 2001. All improvements incurred either by me or by the previous owner before 1st April 2001 are of no use. Why? Because when we determine cost of acquisition, we take fair market value of the asset on 1st April 1. So if we have done any improvement before 1st April 2001, that will be reflected automatically in this fair market value on 1st April 2001. So by default, all improvements incurred before 1st April 2001 will automatically be counted in this fair market value. And if you count that improvement again, it will result in duplication only. All improvements incurred before 1st April 1 will automatically be counted in fair market value. That is why I will not count it again. That is why whenever asset became your property before 1st April 1, always skip or always ignore the improvements incurred before 1st April 1. On or after this date, any improvement that will be taken into consideration. So in this case, my cost of improvement is that which is incurred on or after 1st April 1. So in 1996, Mr. Y, who is also the previous owner, he incurred improvement, but since it was incurred before 1st April 2001, I will ignore this. Had it been incurred on or after 1st April 2001, I would have counted it. Assessee incurred an improvement in 2009, so I will count it. So cost of improvement in this case will be 90,000. Sorry, 30 lakhs. Improvement incurred on or after 1st April 2001 will be counted. If still not understood, first let us wind up category number 3, then you can ask me the doubts if you have. Category 3. Where the capital asset became the property of the assessee, in other situations. In other situations means other than category 1 and 2. Other than category 1 and 2. If capital asset became the property of the assessee, other than in category 1 and 2 cases, then your simple answer, actual cost incurred. Now by default, if I say other situation, do you know by default which case will be covered? By default, that means I am the owner, I have become the owner on or after 1st April 1. This is by default. Because if you have become the owner of the asset before 1st April 1, you will go to category number 2. But if you have become the owner on or after 1st April 1, you will come here. And on or after 1st April 1, all the improvements are relevant. So your cost of improvement is cost of improvement, or you can say actual cost of improvement, that's it. So whatever is your actual cost, that is counted. And further, suppose you became the owner as per circumstances of section 49(1), gift will, etc., then cost of improvement includes cost of improvement incurred by the previous owner also. That's it. 3 categories of improvement. First was very easy in brand name, not in brand name, in right to carry on business, right to manufacture or process any article, and goodwill of a business. Cost of improvement by default nil. Whenever capital asset became the property of the assessee before 1st April 1, then you ignore all the improvements incurred before 1st April 2001. That's it. Very simple. And if you become the owner of the asset in any situation which is not covered in category 1 and 2 by default, then whatever is your actual cost of improvement, that is your cost of improvement. And in case you have become the owner because of the situations mentioned in section 49(1), then cost incurred by the previous owner is also taken into consideration. That's it. The last example, assessee was Mr. S. In the last example, assessee was Mr. S, who incurred improvement in 2009. Assessee became the owner of the asset in 1999. So I was covered in category number 2. Point clear or not? Assessee became the owner before 1st April 2001. And in that case, simple answer was all improvements incurred before 1st April 1 were ignored. Only the improvements incurred on or after 1st April 2001 were taken into consideration. And what is my category number 3? When assessee became the owner in other situation. What is another situation? Let us assume Mr. O got a property gift in 2010. His previous owner N, Mr. N, also got the property as gift in 2002, and he incurred the improvement of 10 lakh in 2003. O incurred the improvement of 12 lakh in 2017. Previous person M also got the property as gift in 1992. He incurred the improvement of 7 lakh in 1997. Mr. L, he purchased it. He actually purchased it in 1967. He also incurred the improvement of 10,000 in 1978. Now see this example. Mr. L actually purchased it in 67 and transferred it as gift to Mr. M in 1992. Mr. M also did an improvement of 7 lakh in 1997 and transferred this property to Mr. N as gift in 2002. Mr. N also did an improvement in 2003 for 10 lakh and gifted the property to Mr. O in 2010. Mr. O also incurred 12 lakh in 2017 and finally Mr. O sold it in the previous year 2021. Now if I have to compute cost of improvement, first of all, am I covered in category 1? Answer is no, because it is neither goodwill nor any right. So I'm not covered in category number 1. So I'll move to category number 2. Has I purchased, or when I became the owner, am I the owner before 1st April 2001 in this example? No, I am the owner, or I became the owner on or after 1st April 1. I became the owner in 2010. So I was not covered in category number 2 in this example. So by default, I have only this residuary category left. And this is the case when I became the owner because of other situation. By default, other situation means on or after 1st April 1, which I am satisfying in my example. So what is the cost of improvement? Actual cost. So what is the COI in my example? 12 lakh incurred in 2017. Then the provision says it includes all the improvements even if incurred by the previous owner. So which other improvement costs have been incurred by the previous owner? In 2003, 10 lakh, it is incurred by Mr. N. 7 lakh in 1997 incurred by Mr. M. And 10,000 in 1978 incurred by Mr. L. So there are 3 improvement costs incurred by 3 previous owners. 10,000 in 78, 7 lakh in 1997 and 10 lakh in 2003. Can you tell me which improvement I will take into consideration in my example?
Sir, improvement of 10 lakh.
Why not improvement of 10,000 and 7 lakh?
Because it is done before 1st April 2001.
Yes. So in this case, I will take the improvement of 10 lakh also, which has been incurred by the previous owner. But I will not take the improvement of 7 lakh and 10,000, which have been incurred by the previous owners before 1st April 2001. Is this point clear? All improvements incurred before 1st April 2001 are completely ignored. That's it. If it is clear, please raise your hands. So with this, I have covered the concept of cost of improvement also. And now what is only left in this topic is indexed cost of acquisition and indexed cost of improvement. The moment we complete indexed cost of acquisition and improvement, almost the technical portion of the chapter will be over. Then we have to simply practice some questions. So these two are requirements which are for long term. But to compute long term, COI and COA are must. So whatever work you have done for short term computation, the same work has to be required for long term. In fact, in long term, one work is extra, that you have to first compute those cost of acquisitions into indexed cost, and similarly you have to convert cost of improvement into indexed cost. So that's all for today's discussion. Thanks. In case you have any problem, you please ask me right now.
सर
Yes.
सर कैटेगरी 2 की स्लाइड शो कर दो एक बार.
Last one.
सर कैटेगरी 2.
Okay. Is it clear? Is it visible? Now others, if you are having any problem, you please ask. But steps you must be having in your mind to determine cost of acquisition. First you determine actual cost, then to determine cost, read those 8 categories. Similarly, you determine improvement through these 3 categories. While determining improvement cost, all improvements incurred before 1st April 2001 are of no use. That's it. So that's all from my side. you can leave this session. Goodbye. Those who want to stay for doubts and discussion, they can stay. Rest can leave. Thanks.